All right, so here I have a, I just have a couple of directories set up on the system. And I'm going to go in and first do some action. So remember, the project owner is the one who needs to set things up in the system. So I go in here and I just have a blank directory. What I'm going to do is just run a script to just kind of set up some information here. So this is going to create the overall metadata for me, which I'll show you because I think this is part of what you really want to see here. So I'm actually going to skip down a minute here. So here we have the rules that we're going to go through and do about the way that the software is supposed to be created. So it's expected that Alice, who's the first person here, this is Alice's key, is going to run VI to create her software, and she's going to create a file called foo.py. And then after this, Bob is going to package it, and Bob's key is here. So he's going to run this package step, and then his step is going to be to tar it up, and he's going to use a command that looks something like this in order to do it. And then that's it. And then Alice and Bob are going to package it up, and then in the end, when we go to verify it, then we have this set of rules up here that tells us exactly how to validate it in the end. It tells us how to unpack it and exactly what to do to make sure that nothing was tampered with. Okay, so what we've done is we've generated Alice and Bob's keys. I'm gonna copy these over into a directory functionaries here, which is where I'm gonna have Alice and Bob perform their actions. So, sorry, now is where I need to cheat because I have to type this pretty long command in here. Toto run name. So now Alice is going to do the write code step, and this step is going to produce a file foo. And it's going to sign everything using Alice's key. And we're going to run VI on create a file called foo.py. So I can create this very simple file here. And so what has happened? Well, what's actually happened is I've also, in addition to running VI, I've also created this link metadata here for this step. And this has said, hey, you just created this thing, foo.py. It has a foo.py that came out of this, had a specific hash, and there was no standard error or standard output from this. And the VI returned successfully. So it's saying like you've actually gone through and done the right steps. Like VI did the right thing and it's capturing what occurred. So now we're going to go through and we're going to have Bob actually go through and package everything. So Bob is going to use as a material an incoming thing foo, and Bob is going to create a file foo.tar.gz. He's going to sign the metadata about it using his key, and so there we go. So now he's gone, and he's also created a piece of metadata here for the package, which looks very similar to what we had before. It took in foo.py and produced this package. Okay, and then out of that, what we can do is we can go and copy the foo.tar.gz, both of the linked files from here, and we go into the project owner directory and copy the root layout. And in my example here, Alice is actually the project owner. So we put this in the final products, and then if we've done this all correctly, and there are no bugs in the code here, fresh off the press code, fresh out of GitHub. Then if then what we should see here is a bunch of output that says passing and 0. Okay, good. So everything works. So the thing, the layout wasn't tampered with, and everything worked correctly. And I'm not going to show you in the interest of time, but if I went through and I tampered with one of these steps, you would see it go up and tell you that there's an exception here, and the system would error out when trying to do this. Okay, so to summarize, it's not easy being green. Yeah. Okay, so here's where we at with Toto. So we have a high-level spec that we think is basically approved. We're doing some internal things, and then we're going to release it more publicly. We do have a reference implementation that does some things and is but is very welcome for anybody to hack on, and really all of our code is welcome for you guys to hack on and just like talk with us about it. Let's do things. We're going to start using it internally inside of a bunch of our projects like Seattle and TUF and other things in the next few weeks. And we're going to do be asking people who we know, which will be some people in this room, if they'd be willing to try it out and test it internally, in the next month or so. And then after that, we'll have a big hullabaloo about it and say, hey, this is the next great thing. Everybody should be doing this, because otherwise nobody knows what actually is in your software. Okay, so to wrap up, securing software is a hard problem. The Notary folks have done really a very good job with this, with Docker containers. And we're very pleased to work with them. They've been great. So if you're interested in making changes to TUF or understanding more about this, then the TAP process is a good way to do this. Let's have a quick email discussion or Skype discussion. And then if that makes sense, then we can do a TAP write-up maybe together. And our software for all these projects is available on GitHub, so we'd love to have your forks, pull requests, stars, things like that. And with that, I'll take any questions. Yes?